Awesome. Awesome. Freaking gun rocks. There may be a run on Glock 20s. Maybe the 21s, but my favorite, as you're going to see, is the Glock 20. Yes, it is a 2-for-1 Nutnfancy tabletop review, bringing together a bunch of data. It will be feature length. Totally. Let's kick it off, though, with an attention step. 10,000 foot-pounds of energy in a pistol.
So far,
how's
so
that?
good out of the Glock 20.
Glock 20, 10,000 foot-pounds of energy in a single pistol, which, by the way, fully loaded is only 44 ounces. Amazingly lightweight for the firepower. Firepower versus mobility. If you want firepower in a pistol configuration, Glock 20. Glock 21's not too far behind, depending on what load you're running with it. Perhaps you think I jest. So here's the numbers right out the gate. Part B of the attention step. 10 millimeter Underwood brand, 155 grain gold dot, clocking at 1580 feet per second, 866 foot-pounds per round at the muzzle for a whopping 10,140 foot-pounds for a 15+1 semi-automatic handgun. Welcome to the world of Glock 20. Glock 21 will be less than that, depending on your load. We will talk about that. This, by the way, of introduction is a 3rd gen Glock 20 SF. That is short frame. Upside down, just so you can read the slide there. White painted. I just filled out with white paint. Is a 4th gen Glock 21. Couple ground rules. This is not a 5-minute video. It's not a 20-minute video. It's not a 30-minute video. It's going to be feature length. It will draw you in like a tractor beam. Before you know it, it will be over and done. I hear it all the time from TMPers, subscribers to the Nutnfancy project. Dude, I can't believe I just watched an hour video. It seemed like 5 minutes. When they say that, I know I've done it right, because it's got to flow. The information's real, it's original, it's high quality, and I got lots of shooting to show you on these two guns. Lots. So that's a ground rule. If you want the basics, go to the Glock website. It has all the specifications. There's probably several articles online written about the guns you can find. But if you want video entertainment, which has high quality information, you're in the right place, dude. By the way, I'm not Mr. Glock either. I mean, one of my foundational reviews was a Glock 17 way back in 2008. Now, no one had ever seen a Gear Adventure channel before. I kind of came up with that whole thing. But back then, everyone thought, oh, he's just all about Glocks. That's all he likes. Glocks this, Glocks that. He doesn't like anything else. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Because I love all types of combat handguns. I'm just calling these that for now. SIGs, Smiths, CZs, all types of reviews out there over the years. Love them. I give everyone a fair shot. So no, I am not in the pocket of Glock. They don't know anything about my reviews, and I have yet to ever receive a Christmas card from Glock. A thank you from Glock. So that's that. In this video, I will also make no attempt to represent the controversies of the type, developmental history, changes of this or that. It's too technical, it's too boring, it adds unneeded length to the video. I got enough ground to cover without that. So I hope you're not looking for that. At one time, I did try to do that on these videos. Not no more. No way, man. Just the facts, the interesting facts and stuff that drives to the heart of philosophy of use, which we will spend most of our time on, by the way. I think it's fascinating. By the way, I want to concentrate on the Glock 20.
Nice.
I think I already hinted it is my favorite. Sorry, it just is. I mean, 10,000 foot-pounds of energy, dude, come on. It's your favorite, too. That's not far behind. And actually, rolling into any dangerous situation as a sidearm, I would be happily armed with either of these pistols. Happily. Which leads us to our next ground rule. I talked about the 10,000 foot-pounds of energy with that particular load, around 860 at the muzzle. That's a lot, but let's not get carried away. These are still pistols. We use a pistol to fight our way to a rifle, is what I'm trying to say, anytime we can, or a combat shotgun. Usually your system cannot take those two sidearms, so you have to opt for a handgun. That's where these two come into play. That's when I want to run with them. But let's not act like they're all that, okay? I still think handguns are underpowered. I'd much rather have a combat shotgun if the range is appropriate, a tactical carbine, better yet, a .308 battle rifle. Thank you very much. Just keep it real. You know, if you want to run a Smith & Wesson 500 revolver, go for it. But you and I both know you're not going to have it when the crap goes down and you really need it. Oh yeah, I'm not going to pretend that this is the first time I've reviewed a Glock. I'm not going to go over all the features. I may forget some stuff. Go back to my other videos. I've got a lot out there. I just updated the Glock 34, 35 series. That's out there. Updates, I think, to the Glock 17 over the years. Those are kind of foundational. I'll hit the big stuff, but I got too much ground to cover. Kind of like this. The 10 millimeter. You don't hear too much about it, do you? I know I don't, and I'm in the gun community, to say the least. And yet it's been around forever, and for whatever reason, it's just wheezing along. You know, barely surviving. It has a huge core, you know, fan club, the 10mm, for all the reasons I'm going to talk about. I, by the way, count myself in that group. And I hope this video gives it more impetus, that we can up the sales on what I think is the best 10mm and, in a lot of ways, the 45 combat handgun out there, the Glock 21. There's lots of good ones. We'll talk about competitive options. I hope the sales really increase on a 10mm because the 45 is not in danger. The 21 has always done well. Not so much for the Glock 20. Or for that matter, the more compact version, the Glock 29. And if we're talking about the Glock 21, the more compact versions of that would be the Glock 30 or the Glock 36. Both of them are awesome. But when we talk about size, weight, feel, and all that stuff, I opt for these full-size versions. You're only gaining about 2.5 ounces more. You're going to get a longer sight radius. You're going to get a longer barrel, which equates to higher velocities. You're using it as a combat sidearm. Broad term, I know. Opt for the full, you know, the full version, says me. Now, if you're going to carry it in a concealed carry role, which actually will take us, well, not quite yet. I was going to say, if you're going to carry it in a concealed carry role, then you might opt for a smaller version of those. Yes, it's going to be much more powerful than some other caliber offerings. But before we jump into POU, I was going to say the 10mm, you don't hear much about it. It's kind of wheezing along. It really came into the public consciousness back in the 1980s when the FBI adopted it as their service cartridge in their service pistols, namely the Smith & Wesson Model 1076. Big pistol, strong pistol, durable pistol, from what I understand, reliable pistol. However, that full power load that the FBI came out with did not last long. And they adopted it, as you may know, after the 1986 Miami shootout against those bank robbers on that highway. FBI agents, I think, had Smith & Wesson 9mm service pistols. Bad guys had Mini 14s. In fact, the perps had taken several rounds of 9mm and continued to shoot. They killed 2 more agents. FBI, long story short, comes out with a study, says, hey, the 9mm is not working for us. We need something more powerful. Bang, 10mm was adopted, namely the Model 1076. MP5s were chambered in it later on. They're still running around. But they found out agents couldn't handle the power of 10mm, not in that frame. They downloaded it, and it basically became the Smith & Wesson 40. Yeah, short and weak in some people's minds. So it's a downloaded 10mm, the 40 Smith & Wesson. So FBI finally got smart and says, why do we need this long cartridge case for downloading it? And they shrunk it, 40 Smith & Wesson. Short history. If you want more, there's all types of information out there. Read to your heart's content in Wikipedia. You'll find it all there. But that's where we're at now. Cartridge not hugely popular. In my opinion, the gun's chambered for it, not hugely popular. Let's see if we can change it with a philosophy of use discussion. First, out of the gate, as I said in 2008 in my Glock 17 review, I believe, I think the Glock 20 is an ideal bear country gun. In fact, where is it? Denmark? Yeah, there's a agency, Serious Sledge Patrol, uses it as an anti-polar bear handgun. Primary armament? No. But sidearm when you're in bear country is what we're talking about. If you ask me, I think the best bear gun is a shotgun loaded with slugs. High velocity slugs, some Brennickys, absolutely. Alternating between buckshot, lots of rounds, a 45-70, you know, a 300 Winchester Magnum, something like that. That's a good bear gun. The question is, are you going to have it on your person when you're fishing, salmon fishing in Alaska? Probably not. You're not. So we get into that firepower versus mobility equation I've always talked about here in the Nutnfancy project. We can talk theoretically about how this system would be better, that gun would be better, and we can all agree, but the question is, are you actually going to be carrying that when you're backpacking 50 miles into the Alaskan backcountry? Probably not. Now, competitive options, there's some other good pistol options, but none will possess 10,000 foot-pounds of energy per pistol. No, it just isn't going to happen. Now, there's another load by a company called Buffalo Bore. They call it the Heavy 10mm. It's a 200 grain, they say, that comes out at 1,200 feet per second for 639 foot-pounds of energy. That would be my preferred bear load. Sorry I didn't secure those for this review or shoot them, but from what I understand, it's a good load. That ranks up there, boys. A 10mm is a serious cartridge, and I like the heavier loads to penetrate that big old thick skull of Mr. Grizzly Bear. And while we're at this discussion, let me throw a little caveat out there. I do not advocate the shooting of bears at all. In fact, I would do everything in my power to avoid a bear conflict, including extricating myself from the area, running away, getting out of there, climbing a tree even, to prevent shooting a bear.
FP.
I love bears, but if it's between me and him, my kid's not having a dad, I will shoot to kill. If it's my life. Kind of like a self-defense encounter. I think a Glock 20 is an outstanding gun. Never mind, it's durable. The Tennifer finish, it's almost rust-proof. You can bang it around, it's not going to break. We'll talk about reliability here. It's a very reliable gun. With a caveat, plot will thicken here. And it's super lightweight for what you get. The gun itself, I'm talking the Glock 20 naked, is only 27.5 ounces. If you want to go with a smaller 29, it's 24 ounces. This is the same weight, pretty much. 27 ounces for the Glock 21. This can be a bear gun too. I would load it with something like this. Hornady, 200 grain XTPs. There's your stats right there. What's it saying? 982 out of the muzzle. It's going to be less than that. They always over-advertise it. I'm sorry, that was at 50 yards. Muzzle's 1055 feet per second. 50 yards was 982. That would be a good barrel load right here. Almost as good as a 10mm. Both bear guns, my preference is Glock 20. I could spend a whole video on this. You're going to see a lot of discussions in the comments on it. So be cool with each other. I think a lot of people have good points. You will never convince me otherwise that a Glock 20 is not a #1 bear pistol. Great, great bear gun. Do I think it would put a bear down? Absolutely it would. If you make your shots count, you have 16 opportunities to do that. Which brings us to another consideration. We're talking about bear country. Is some guys say, well, I like a revolver, a 44 Magnum, which is a competitive option, you know, like a Smith & Wesson Model 329 PD, scandium frame. I'm saying rock on. You've got 6 rounds and you ain't going to reload. You better make them count. I'd much rather have 16 or realistically 15 because I downloaded one. Got to move on. How about overall hunting gun, the Glock 20 and Glock 21? I would say probably yes to the Glock 20, probably not to the Glock 21 just because of velocity. But you can hunt hogs. It's legal to hunt white-tailed deer in some locations. Glock actually provides a 6-inch barrel for even more velocity. If I were you, I would limit my shots to 50 yards. Your drop with most 10mm loads, full velocity, will be around, I think, 3.5 inches. So you could probably make a hit out to 100 yards out of a freaking pistol and make a kill with it. Again, smart hunters would keep it within 50 yards. All-around hunting gun, absolutely. Here's something I've been doing. I just use it as a high power carry option. What? Yeah, man. A gun that I just like carrying around. It is my concealed carry option. A full-size Glock 20, and you guys have seen that on camera. Why am I doing that? Well, because I love the cartridge. It is manly. Tons of power, obstacle defeating capabilities, which, heck, let's discuss now. You want to talk about making a shot through a windshield, through a car door? You want to do that with a 9?
1266.
You want to do that with a 40?
Awesome.
There's police reports out there that I have studied personally about all the failures of 40 Smith & Wesson through car doors. If it hits a window pillar, something like that, the 40 is dead in the water, never gets to the bad guy, ever. Sometimes same with a 9. You put 124 grain plus P9, then you're talking. It can do it. 10 millimeter just blows it away though. Are there better cartridges for that? Absolutely. 357 Magnum, 44 Magnum, but realistically in this form factor in a semi-automatic pistol, which is carryable, i.e. weight and size, you don't have that many options.
1150.
High power carry, absolutely. It makes me feel good.
1166.
I love it. And to be honest, it's kind of a second kind of cool thing for me too. I told you you're going to want one of these things. It's like a fast car. It's just cool. Hey, I don't need that much power. So what if you did? I like it. What if you had to make a shot in an active shooter scenario through glass? I'd much rather do it with a 10mm. Actually, even over a 45 ACP. Unless I'm running one of these. High power carry, absolutely. Can you do so comfortably? Yes, you can. The right holster, make sure it doesn't protrude. It's much bigger than a Glock 26, you know, substantially heavier than a lot of others. And I know I'm a huge proponent of subcompact carry. I've said that forever and ever. Still love it for its capabilities. We're erring to the side of firepower. We're not just talking about rounds count. We're talking about overall capability of a weapon system that is very compact and portable for what it can do. I think the Glock 21 is right there too. And a lot of guys do that. And in my 1911 reviews, in the back of my mind, I'm saying as a go-to-war pistol, talking about the G21 here, you know, I'm just like, 1911, okay, I can put a 10-round magazine in it, plus one, that's 11. Dang, versus 13 plus one in a Glock form factor, I'll go Glock. As a GTW pistol, for me, high power carry option. It turns me on, I know it's capable. It's a real man-starper cartridge. Both of these are. I mean, if you're talking, we're talking bear hunt, or not bear hunt, but bear defense with this one. Hunting, actually, with this one. But in the terms of high power carry, both of these cartridges are superior to 9mm. Nutnfancy, we thought you were a huge 9mm fan. I am a 9mm fan in terms of cost efficiency, size efficiency, and proper loading. Now, if you read the 1986 or 87 report FBI, it's out there. They talk about the failures of 9mm. They talk about how even shooting dogs, the round failed them, and how they racked up some serious veterinary bills. I thought that was hilarious. They shot perps. The guys kept coming. I think most of their stoppages were with the old school subsonic 147 grain bullet, which clogged. The tip would clog, and it did not expand. I can't spend a lot of time on this, but it failed. But that was 1986. Many years have passed. You can get great loadings for the 9mm, which expand, which do a lot of things. I like the 124 grain plus Ps myself, like I said. However, they pale in comparison to these bullets for pure man-stopping capability. Now, if we start rolling in weight, magazine capacity, cost, which is huge because both these are very expensive, the 9mm starts coming back. So we blend all those in. It depends on what our philosophy of use is. I'll leave it at that. How about police gun? Glock 20, Glock 21? Yes, there are departments which are using them. Plano, Texas, by the way, is using, I think, the Glock 20.
785.
Don't go piss off an officer in Plano, I'm thinking.
100%
I think it's a great cop gun. How about over penetration? That in the 10mm, man, will blow right through a dude and then hit an innocent bystander. Well, I think that's overblown, if not completely overblown. They never had an innocent bystander get hurt from the 10mm because a round went through the bad guy.
Glock 20.
What happened is they missed the bad guy and it went through a wall or a structure of some sort. Someone got struck and injured or killed. They have had problems with that. All agencies have. But that's not a 10mm fault, 10mm fault. I mean, that would happen with any gun. You miss the bad guy, goes through some drywall, and it strikes a lady next door. You don't need a 10mm for that. So I think over penetration is oversold. I think these guns will, not guns, but the rounds will stop inside the bad guy. Especially if you have to go through an obstacle to get to said bad guy. Drywall, glass, a car door. He's trying to run your partner over. What do you want to shoot at him with? A Glock 19 or a Glock 20, knowing that that conflict is coming? You said it. I'll take a Glock 20. How about this? I got to get moving. I told you this is interesting. Suppressed heavy hitter. By
This is
that I
shooting
mean
HPR ammo out of the Glock
this gun
20.
especially makes an outstanding suppressed host. Glock 21, the round is already subsonic. Most rounds will clock in around 800 feet per second. By the way, that's a TLR 1 on the Glock 21. Outstanding weapon line, in case I forget. Screw on a suppressor in this thing, especially the Glock 21, you got yourself a sweet combination. Now, this is an Osprey 40, not a 45, but you get the picture, right? We'll talk about that if I can remember it in accessories. Quiet, capable, and you're actually going to fit on a slightly longer barrel. You'll get increased velocity out of that. Suppressed heavy hitter. I think this is the gun Special Forces should have adopted. I mean, they went with that Mark 23 SOCOM. The whole time I'm like, why don't you guys just go with the Glock 21? That thing is proven, it's capable, it's lightweight, it's been around forever, it's such a great gun. No, we're going to go with a real heavy, real big Glock, or SOCOM 23. That's ancient history, but I always had a problem with that. That's philosophy of use. I got to go on, dudes. Heck, we just got so much ground to cover. These guns are big. I'm not going to lie to you. Here comes a 4-gen Glock 17 by way of comparison against the Glock 20. Now, that form factor is about the same, but the real difference is in width. So on the Glock 2021, the slide is going to be wider because it has to have more mass for the more powerful cartridges, right? 1.28 inches, that is 32.5 millimeters on the right. 1.18 inches for a Glock 22 or Glock 17 or any derivation of the type. It's going to be wider. Also in the frame's going to be wider. Is it so big and so bulky that the feel of the G21, the G20 is ruined? I say absolutely not. I have large size hands though. That being said, I still opted for the SF, this 3rd gen SF. Feels better, has a shorter trigger reach. It's shortened by, I think, 2.5 millimeters and then 4 millimeters shorter in the heel for a 3rd gen Glock 20 SF is what I'm talking. The feel is bigger, I'm not going to lie, versus a Glock 22, Glock 17, but totally manageable for large size hands. Now, if you're a female shooter, you're small statured, you need to handle one to make sure it's going to fit you. We're kind of jumping ahead to ergonomics. The weight, again, for what they are, for their capabilities, the rounds they freaking launch out the pipe
coated.
are totally decent. Basically 27 ounces empty for both of those guns. Fully loaded, once again, 44 ounces, about the same for the Glock 21. I usually downloaded a couple rounds and it's going to run around 40 ounces for the Glock 20. Balance is standard Glock. Feel is standard Glock. Very low bore axis for shot recovery, which we're going to hit on pretty hard. And that takes us to firepower. Try 15 and 10 millimeter. 15. By the way, you see these color codings I put on my mags? We run in the Nutnfancy project during testing all types of calibers for Glocks. I recommend marking yours. Orange is 10mm and TMP. That way I can tell, hey, you know, that's a Glock 21 mag, yellow. You might want to do the same thing. Have a color coordinating process. Otherwise, you're going to jam the wrong magazine in the pistol, and it could get worse. You could actually chamber around and lock the gun up. For the Glock 21, we're talking about firepower, 13 plus 1. In 45 ACP, excellent, says me. That is outstanding firepower. A lot of guys are happy with a 7-round, 8-round, 1911 magazine. I can run with those. You know, you can reload them quickly. I understand that. They have a slimmer grip. You know, ergonomically, for a guy with smaller hands, they just like it. They don't like the fatter grip for a double stack 45 ACP. I understand that, but it really doesn't get more ergonomic than that for width, comparatively speaking. There's other great 45s out there. I think I said that. XDM, FN makes them, M&P series, they're excellent. Glock 21's just among them. Just among them. I think firepower is amazing. Have we talked as much as we need to about the power of the cartridges? I think we need to talk a little bit more because I'm just so enamored with the power of the 10 millimeter. As long, and this is a foot stomper, you load it or you shoot the right load. Because along with the downloading of the FBI load came a bunch of reduced power loads in the commercial market as well. In fact, that is mostly what's out there. So it will be marketed as a 10 millimeter load when in fact it basically has 40 Smith & Wesson ballistics. I recommend steering clear of those big time, because why run a 10 mm with a longer case, the longer grip designed to accommodate that when you're just shooting 40 Smith, short and weak. I'm kidding, I still love the 40 Smith. But a 40 Smith ballistics, just go with a 40, a Glock 22. Makes a lot more sense. If you're going to go with a Glock 20, a Glock 29, go full power. Full power. Now this round right here is, I think, an Underwood round. Here's the box right here. And it advertises it as 1,300 feet per second. It's a 180 grain Hornady XTP. Great round. I love the XTP hollow point. It's excellent. I did not achieve that. In mine, I achieved around 1,260 feet per second on that day out of a Glock 20, which is a 5.6 inch barrel length. If you put on a suppressed barrel like a Lone Wolf Distributing, I think it's a 5.2 inch barrel. Did I say 5.6? I meant to say 4.6 inch barrel in this one. And the LWD barrel is 5.2. Glock has a 6. You'll get more velocity. Then I shot this one, HPR. That's 180 grain as well, jacketed hollow point, and I got about 1160 feet per second out of this gun with it. So about 1,000 feet slower. Off my note page, here's a look at those velocities that I attained right there. That's pretty smoking. Like I said, the round that I'm really going to zone in on is that Buffalo Bore Heavy 200 grain. Or, like I said at the intro, the 150 grain Gold Dot at 1580 feet per second. Realistically, that's probably going to shoot around 1450 out of most guns. That's still pretty freaking smoking. 10,000 foot-pounds of energy. How about the Glock 21? Showed you this Hornady round. Awesome. There's all kinds of great loadings. I would gravitate, if you can take the blast and the drama of a plus P out of a 45, I would go plus P. Otherwise, you're going to get about 800 feet per second, and that's exactly what we got on this load. 230 grain high shock jacketed hollow point. About 800 feet per second. The shooting dynamics, by the way, between these two guns, going from a Glock 20, well, heck, let's roll into 17. You start out shooting a Glock 20, which is very controllable and soft shooting. I'll hit that again in ergos. To a 17, you feel like you're shooting a freaking pop gun. You're like, am I shooting a 380? You go to a 21, it's even that way. You're like, don't get me wrong, the 10 mil, even full power, I'm shooting those freaking Underwood rounds. I was like, dude, this is so manageable, it's almost laughable. Had I known it's this sweet of a shooting gun, I would have adopted this thing a long time ago. Albeit very expensive to shoot. Then I went to 21, and this thing was like a pussycat to shoot. Just very controllable and soft shooting. Yeah, the polymer frame on Glocks, it is what they say it is. It's very, very comfortable to shoot. You shoot that, yeah, freaking, you feel like you're shooting a 380. Firepower, the loads, I think we talked enough about that. Only use full power loads, otherwise you're doing yourself a huge disservice. How about accuracy? Oh, dudes, I got a lot to show you here. I gotta go fast. All right, mostly Glock 20 accuracy is what I'm going to show you. Here is July 13, Mr. Crockett 20. My buddy helped me shoot that day. He's a good Glock shooter. Nice group, Crockett, at 10 yards. Center, nice job, dude. Upper right, nice. This is standing, by the way, in the desert. Hard to do. Well played on that. That's HPR, 180 grain. Here's 8 yards, me standing. I think that same outing may have been a different outing. Oh, dude, check that out. Freaking A, I'm so happy with that. Never mind. 180 grain XTP, that's the Underwood ammo. Sometimes I kid around and call it the underwear ammo. HPR 180 grain, JHP. Oh, that's a sweet group. Damn, son. I was on that day. 8 yards standing. Yeah, try it. It's harder than it looks, especially with a 10 mm. Here comes 10 yards, so we moved it back a bit. This is standing in the desert. There's a group there. This is HPR ammo. I'm sorry I didn't have more loads. That's just all I could find. Which kind of leads you to a point that, you know, that's not that great to open that up. that the 10 millimeter is not super available. Getting back to the fact that it's kind of wheezing along in the marketplace. Hope this video can kind of change that in a way. We need a lot more loads for it. I hope it becomes much more popular. Glock 21, dude. This was yesterday. Let's start off with my worst group. What? 1, 2, 3. What the freak? I suck. There's a Glock 20 vertical stringing. This is actually shooting from a steel saw rest. You'll see that in the video. Oh, that's sweet. HPR. One whole group at 15 yards. Amazing. That represents the accuracy of the gun. This is a Glock 21, by the way. Glock 20 and 21. 21's right here. That was a 20, I'm sorry. There you go. Told you I got a lot. I gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. This is both Glock 20, 21, first to 21. This is 15 yards right there. Glock 21 right there. Glock 21. Cellar and Bellet. Oh man, that worked good. That's such consistent ammo, that S&B. Glock 20 HPR, that's 2 rounds, 3-round group. I was having fun shooting this thing, I can't lie. I have fun with most guns, I know that, but this thing was really amazing. I'm very happy with that group. 15 yards in the desert. Glock 20. Glock 20 right there. Standing, 25 yards. I think this is standing. It might be rested. I forget. This is back in July. I'm happy with that group. That's a Glock 20 shooting that HPR ammo. This stuff right here. Bought from Gunnies. Good stuff. That's a good group. I was reading somewhere, a dude said he was standing in an article at 25 yards. He shot it into 2 inches. Glock 20, 15 yards, HPR. I was chronoing then, trying to, but it's too dark. We had to do it later. Oh, that's nice. Is this Crockett? This is Crockett. Yeah, wrote it right there. Headshots, body shots, sweet. I'm going to end with this one. Look at that, buddy. Look at that. Oh, yeah. July, 15 yards, 180 grain XTPs. That's that Underwood ammo. Freaking wasted that guy's head. This is me standing at 15 yards, body shots there. Accuracy on both the Glock 20, Glock 21, I would say is excellent if your marksmanship fundamentals are squared away. By the way, that's a Cold Steel Recon peeking out from there. Just a little prop. Hey, Cold Steel. I'd say that it's excellent. I think it will be more of a mental challenge for people to especially shoot the Glock 20 good. And I say mental because they may go into the realm of 10mm with some preconceived notions. Like, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to shoot like a 500 Smith & Wesson with a lot of blast and recoil. I don't know if I can hang with this. They got to overcome that and just pretend like you're shooting a Glock 17. Don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. It's soft shooting. Very soft shooting. Which, by the way, will harken back to the philosophy of use discussion. We talk about bear country gun. We talk about heavy carry, hard hitting, suppressed, whatever. A lot of guys will say, well, I'd use this gun. I'd use the 44 Magnum. Full size 44 Magnum. Dirty Harry Special. Awesome. Are you going to have that gun on your person? Probably not. We've already talked about that. And more importantly, are you going to be able to shoot it well? Witness, for instance, I mentioned it already. I'm going to hit it again because it's going to drive this point home. The outstanding Smith & Wesson Model 329 PD. Scandium frame. That sucker is only, check it, 25 ounces for a 44 Magnum. An unported 44 Magnum. Have you shot one of those? I have. They are extremely hard to shoot accurately. Oh, and by the way, like I mentioned, you only have 6 rounds. Don't get me wrong, I love that gun. But it's an expert's gun. Just like a Scandium frame 357, that's an expert's gun. You be ready, got to be ready to man up in terms of recoil. So if you can't shoot a Scandium frame revolver well, especially under stress, a charging bear would be worst case scenario. Very short notice. What's it matter? You'd be better off with a Glock 20. You want to go smaller? Glock 29. You know, that's what I'd go with. Ergonomics. Kind of introed in that already with that discussion. But ergonomics are going to be between a 3rd gen and a 4th gen, both represented on the table. Start off with a 3rd gen. Once upon a time, I made a video called My Favorite Glock Mods. It's still out there and it still plays. I haven't changed anything about it, and all those Glock mods were performed by me. They're very simple and easy to do on this 3rd gen Glock 20. For instance, I have decal grip, have an extended magazine button. I run a decal grip here, and it's not the sand, it's the rubber variety in this one. Extended slide release. And I have a 3.5 pound Ghost connector in there. By the way, I tape my serial numbers, not for you guys, but for the freaking federal government. I recommend you do the same. If you know what I'm saying. Just a little side note there. But that's my 3rd gen Glock mods. They're very simple, easy to perform, and after they're done, I'm happy with the ergonomics on this gun. Very happy with them. As a way of quick review, we've talked about them lots. The standard sights in Glock are fine. They're polymer, 3-dot variety. They're not ultra precise, but no combat sights are ultra precise. If you don't like them, you have lots of options, as we've talked about in accessories. Good cocking serrations here. I don't mind the 3rd gen grip at all. I think it's fine for me. We'll talk about 4G here in just a second. Trigger is not going to be the 5.5 pounds that Glock advertises. It's usually pulling around 7 pounds. So when you throw in a 3.5 pound connector, it usually drops around to 5.5 pounds. You can do more work on it if you need it. Do you need to modify your trigger for your Glock 20, your Glock 21? Absolutely not. They shoot great out of box. I tend to be a trigger snob. I usually do it. Like I said, 3.5 pound connectors in this one. Accessory rail here. Kind of squared corners at the muzzle here. Squared off trigger guard. I love that about the Glocks. I'm so glad they've never changed that. Roomy enough in the trigger. Simple controls, and look how clean Glocks are on the side. There's no controls sticking out, grabbing. Granted, this is going to be fatter at 1.28 inches. That's a Glock 3rd gen. That being said, if you can find a Glock 20 or Glock 21 4th gen, I recommend you get that. I'll tell you why here in a little bit. But ergonomically, I think this is everything that gun is. We just don't have to change it. I've said this before, so I'll go fast. RTF texturing right here. You don't need decal grip on this. Interchangeable back straps. So if you need a little bit larger one, a little bit fatter one, you can interchange them out. I usually leave the one that comes on it, just like you see. Trigger's the same. Mag button is much better. Reversible too. You know, the magazines are changed to accommodate that, I think. Hope I'm not wrong on that. A couple other changes in the 4th gen. The double captive recoil spring, for instance. 4th gen. That's one I'd go with. Ergonomically, though, they're bigger guns, but they're comfortable guns. I really don't have a problem with them at all. How about field strip and maintenance? Well, field strip is as it has always been in Glocks, and that means it's super simple. Let's start off, I think, with the Glock 20. And while we're going to field strip this, I'm going to put in an accessory. Safety check, safe direction, pull the trigger. Oh, you got to pull the trigger to field strip it? That's a showstopper. Not with me. I've never cared about that. Just, you know, do your part as a shooter. Be safe. Slide comes off. There's the 3rd gen recoil spring. Flat wound. Same as it is in a lot of other Glock pistols. No big deal. However, I think the double captive might be an improvement in a Glock 20. We'll talk about why again. I know, you're wondering. You may have seen it in video already. I don't know. Okay, and then to field strip it, barrel comes out, piece of cake. Clean it right there. No big deal. I want to jump ahead to accessories. We talked about a suppressed heavy hitter, and at this time we are going to throw this in. This is a Lone Wolf Distributing. Oh, I lied. It's actually for a Glock 21. Crap, I got to put that in Glock 21. Oh, I thought it was for the 20. Sorry. You can actually convert your Glock 21 to shoot 10 mil. Kind of jumping ahead to accessories. What you'll need there is a new barrel, specially constructed to fit in your Glock 21 slide, a new extractor, guide rod, and you'll need new mags. That's all I'm going to say about it. There's more information out there if you're concerned about it. You know, so you can convert your 21 to shoot, 10 mm if you want. So I'm actually going to put this in. Freak. Damn it. It goes in a freaking 20. Yeah, I screwed up. Let me put that in the Glock 20 instead. I'll put this one back together. That's field strip maintenance. That was so easy. So easy. Kind of reference standard, if you ask me. Pop this off. This would be a good opportunity to see, by the way, the double captive on the 4-gen. LWD barrel going in, and here's our double captive spring, which I think actually is a better arrangement for these calibers. For the 9mm and 40, perhaps not. I talked about that. Bang. Lone Wolf Distributing Glock 21 barrel installed. That's going to give us a little bit more velocity and give us a suppressor capability. That was field strip and maintenance. And like I've talked about before, on those 4 steel guide rails in here, I just put a little dab of high quality synthetic grease on them. Maybe some Slip 2000, something like that. With the installation of that Lone Wolf barrel finally complete, we merge now into the accessories discussion of the Glock 20, Glock 21. This barrel is, again, at the top of my list on modifications you might want to consider for your G21, G20. And I've mentioned it before, but I'll foot stomp it. You get an ability to fit on a suppressor with that, which is huge. Getting back to our POU discussion we had. This, again, is an Osprey. Awesome, by Silencer Co. I've reviewed it here in the Nutnfancy project. Highly recommended. It's a 40 can, so I can't put it on this 45 ACP barrel, but you get the idea. It opens up all types of different application uses for FCLE, military, responsible civilians. You get the picture. Also, it's a longer barrel, like we said, 5.2 inches versus 4.6 stock barrel length. You'll get more velocity, and that is important. After all, let's pretend we have one fitted on the Glock 20. You're choosing the Glock 20 for maximum velocity, aren't you? So why not fit on a slightly longer barrel? Notice I said slightly because the LWD barrel is very portable in that it will fit into almost all the holsters you have right now. It only protrudes that much. I don't have a thread protector on this one, as you can see. But it doesn't invalidate your holsters. You go with a 6-inch hunting barrel length, it's going to stick out, I don't know, about there or so, and it becomes ungainly. To me, that's not something I'd be interested in. 5.2-inch barrel off LWD, suppressor capability, huge thumbs up. I highly recommend it. In fact, this configuration in this Glock 21 represents my favorite. A 4th-gen version, LWD barrel. By the way, light, I love this light, the TLR1 LED light. It's sick, very capable, love it. And the only other addition I would put on here, and I think I got a set here, are the AmeriGlow sights, and I talked about these before. In fact, I think they're the only suppressor sights being made for Glock, and they're tritium. And they're affordable, around 90 bucks. They're high enough to see over your can, give you a good sight picture. Do you have to run a can for them to be, useful? No, they just stick up slightly higher. If I had these fitted on this Glock 21, perfect. Or Glock 20 for that matter. It's game time then. Talked about my mods on the 3rd gen. I would do the same because the panels as they come in 3rd gen Glock 20s, Glock 21s, they're just a little bit slick for me. Accessories. I mean, I can make another hour-long video about all the accessories available for Glock. We could talk about all the sighting options, all the trigger options. I just basically keep it simple. I'll put in 3.5-pound connector, extended slide release, the stuff I've talked about before. Call it good. If you want to go crazy with it, you can. You'll end up spending a lot of money. You might go to Lone Wolf's website, see what they have available. I definitely would love to put a threaded barrel on this one to be modded just like that Gen 21. And then this Osprey 40 will work perfectly on a 10mm. Oh, sweet. Which, by the way, I've heard dudes cycling. I didn't do it. 40 Smith & Wesson out of their 10s. I haven't done it, but I heard it will do it. It's a shorter case. But the head spacing is such, it will cycle and work reliably. If you do that, you do it on your own. I don't recommend it, for the record. How about holsters? Well, you could go crazy with this too. Anything that fits a Glock 21 will fit the Glock 20 for holsters. I keep it simple, man. I'll take the Special Operations Blackhawk. Is it the fastest around to deploy? Nope. Complete with alley hair, apparently. But it'll protect your gun. It's secure if you're in a lot of rain, snow. It's good. And speaking from experience, if you have an exposed holster and you go on a serious hike, if you care, you're going to scratch the living crap out of your Glock or any gun. I mean, gouge in the polymer with rocks, and you'll live with it the rest of your life. If you consider that cool, I say go for it. When I need to deploy, and I have a review out on this too, when I need to deploy this quicker, I'll just keep the flap open and I'll thumb snap it. And it's universal, it'll fit everything. It won't fit the weapon light though, as you can see. Not these. The cross draw, not the cross draw, but the old Tac Force chest mounted holster will. And you'll see it right here. I mean, that one fits perfectly. Both the Glock 21, Glock 20, with or without weapon light. It's secure. It does take 2 hands to fasten, and it's no longer being produced. And it's for LBE only. It's a Molly holster, horizontally oriented. There's some other weapon light holsters out there. Yes, even for Glock 20, 21s, you can look out for them. This is a Blade Tech holster. Highly recommended. About 20 bucks. It's got a protector side, polymer loops on here. Comfortable, super lightweight. Fits perfect. Nice, secure. Is it a custom Kydex? No, but it's good enough. I always label them too. Got it wrong initially. I had to mark it out. Otherwise, you're going to get confused if you have multiple Glock options. And then finally, how about this one, dude? Just a regular Glock belt slide. Those are affordable. Sometimes they'll lock in so tightly, though, you might have to get in there with your Dremel tool, work them over a little bit. Notice I've opted for the synthetic offerings. There's no leather that I'm showing you. One, because the synthetic is more affordable, right? And it won't retain moisture. All the stuff I've talked about before. Lots and lots of holsters options out there. Side options, trigger options, you know, magazine release buttons if you want that. I would get mags, probably the barrel, probably a Mariglow sights if you need a weapon light. You can probably transfer it over from what you have already. Accessories. That's what I go with. And remember, you can convert your 21 to 10mm, but you're going to have to do that properly. It needs a specific 4510 barrel on it. You can't just put a Glock 20 barrel in your 21. From my understanding, that doesn't work. It's a bigger diameter since it's a 45 ACP, 45 caliber round, right? Moving on. Value. This is another reason I absolutely love these guns, because the value is so incredible. I mean, I reviewed recently a SIG 938. Subcompact, single stack, 9mm pistol. It's selling out there for around $725. I said then, I'll say it now, that's a lot of money. Here, these will sell street value around, I think, $550. Either one of these. Amazing value. If you're a law enforcement officer, you purchase off a Blue Label program, I think it's around $485. For a Glock 20 or Glock 21, amazing value. Even $550, amazing value. And competitive options, with 45, you're going to have everything. I mean, you can get freak, like I said, an FN, an XDM, a Smith & Wesson M&P, all types of 1911 options. Sky's the limit. A lot of them are just outstanding, just as good as a Glock, no doubt. Lots of options. Keep in mind the capacity, 13 plus 1. Keep in mind the weight, 27 ounces. Try to beat that. Glock has always led the pack in terms of weight. I mean, the freaking Glock 17 is 22 ounces. See very few service pistols meaning that, ever. That's why mostly backpack in non-bear country with this. If I go to bear country, bam, Glock 20 comes along. $550, totally worthwhile, and it will totally blow away the competition in terms of value. That Smith & Wesson 329 PD, I didn't price it, but remember it's 6 rounds, 44 Magnum. Huge power and fury when you launch those bullets like we talked about. I think that's going to run you around $900, $950. Don't hold me to that. It's an expensive gun. The outstanding Smith & Wesson TRR8 or R8 at 35 ounces empty, much heavier than this Glock 20, Glock 21. Very expensive, hovering right around $1,000 as well. $357. Once upon a time, EAA Witness made a 10mm. It was around $450, maybe $500. That was a great deal. I haven't seen them run around a long time. It's built on a CZ, reverse slide rails, all that other stuff. From what I know, it was a good gun. It was heavy, though. A lot heavier than this. Let's see. Kimber makes a clips. I'm talking 10mm here. SS stainless steel target, and then there's a Colt Delta Elite I still think you can get. But there's not a ton of 10mm options out there. This is my absolute #1 pick, and it has been for a long time, the Glock 20. If you want to go compact, go Glock 29. And that takes us to durability and reliability. Got to wrap it up. You may have seen, I don't know how I'm going to edit this, some jams in the Glock 20. What? That's right. I keep it real, I keep it honest. I had, I think, 4 or 5 failures to extract the empty case out of this Glock 20 3rd gen. Why was that? Well, to be honest, I was very surprised when it happened. And it only happened when I was shooting off barricade, when either the magazine or the frame was contacting said barricade. And I actually only saw these in extended testing. I was going to do the review and I was like, no, I got to do another outing. And I found the stoppages in that outing. I'm so glad I waited on the review. My thesis, my theory is that if the Glock 20, at least 3rd gen, with a single recoil spring, not the double captive in the 4G, from what I saw, if it contacts the barricade, you can have some reliability problems. I think it was the barricade and the frame contacting it. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I know. Because after, I was like, I got to take this thing off the barricade, make sure it does not contact in any way. No reliability problems at all. Crockett 20 and I had no reliability problems at all with Glock 20. And by the way, stoppages occurred in 2 types of ammunition. First, it was the Underwood, mostly, and I was like, oh man, maybe it's the ammo, maybe it's, you know, slide velocity. Nope. Happened with HPR as well. Now, you can get early breach unlocking if you get really high velocities in your Glock 20. And that would be indicated by wide dispersions on your velocities, maybe greater than 50 feet per second, more along the lines of 100 feet per second. Once again, as a sampling of what I saw and did, I didn't see that. I saw the widest spread on the Glock 20 being about 60 feet per second. Could it be unlocking early with that single recoil spring? Perhaps. You know, I'm going to go to Wolf and install probably a 20 or 22 pound recoil spring on that. And off the barricade, not contacting anything, there were no problems at all with the Glock 20. You know, take it for what it is. Glock 21 chugged away 100% with all loads. Off barricade, not off barricade, whatever, 100% reliability on the Glock 21. Keep in mind, these are samples of one. I shot this gun and that gun. We don't have time and money to do otherwise. I thought that was a pretty good indication. We spent a crap load of money on ammo trying to find out this data. That's what we come up with. Am I concerned about the overall reliability of the Glock 20? Even a 3rd gen, I would say no. If I had a recommendation, I would probably buy a 4th gen double captive recoil spring version. Also, you get all the ergonomic benefits of that. There you go. You know, other reliability stuff, it's standard Glock. They'll shoot and shoot and shoot. They just won't wear out. It's Tenifer coated. We talked about how rust-proof that freaking stuff is. Amazing. The ferritic nitrocarburizing they do. Polymer frame. It's all proven. You guys know how it goes. They're tough. Tough, tough, tough. So, no. My enthusiasm is not dampened. It's just a data point I have to represent in the review. Time to wrap it up. 10,000 foot-pounds of energy out of a freaking single handgun. That is amazing to me. It's going to be even more. Now, again, that's with that one load. I realize that. That's the Underwood 155 Gold Dot, 158, what was it, 1580 feet per second. But still, even that heavy hitter, the 200 grain at 1200 feet per second, that's 9,585 foot-pounds of energy out of this thing. And if you opt for plus P out of the Glock 21, you're not going to be far behind it. These are some heavy hitters. Granted, you take more width, a little bit more weight, maybe in terms of what your system is, a lot more weight. In a backpacking system, it's a lot more weight. You know, I wouldn't want to carry a 44-ounce Glock 20 with me. You won't see me doing that. I'll opt for, be honest, not in bear country, no gun at all, or a subcompact 9. But if I go into bear country, you got to prepare accordingly. Bam, this sucker comes along for the jaunt to defend yourself. And it does happen. I mean, in Utah, there was a black bear attack, came right through the tent, bit into a kid, dragged him off, and he ate him. Yeah, no lie, it happened. Not far from where I've done the KTM motorcycle rides I showed you in bear country. That's right where that attack happened. Does it happen all the time? No, it's very, very rare. And like I said, run away, get away. Don't engage the bear. Be smart. Put your bells on so they know you're coming. But what if? What if you have that situation, you can't extricate yourself, and you don't have another gun because you're backpacking, you're fishing, you're not armed to the teeth, you know? A lot of Alaskan guides will carry shotgun with slugs, they'll carry 45-70 because they're guides, that's their profession. They're out to protect their clients. But you in bear country or in any dangerous situation where the penetrating capability, again, I'm concentrating on the 20 here, 10 mm full power could be a useful thing. You know, good luck beating the size and weight efficiency of a Glock 20 and the durability of it. You're going to be hard pressed. Glock 21's just a you know, titch behind it if you're running plus Ps. Highly, highly recommended. They lend themselves to their own kind of cool factor because of their power. It's like a fast car. You may never ever use that speed, but just knowing it's there makes you feel good. That's a Nutnfancy review. Highly recommended. Get your credit card ready. See ya.